FOG number 173 is Matt Gillett. Matt made his Origin debut in Game 1 of the 2012 series, a win at Docklands Stadium in Melbourne. It was the first of 20 games for Queensland. Matt also playing 12 tests for Australia, including the 2017 World Cup final win against England at Suncorp Stadium. A two-time Dally M second rower of the year, Matt Gillett started his 200-game NRL career in 2010 in Brisbane's Round 1 clash with the North Queensland Cowboys. Well, Matt Gillett, what does it mean to you to be a FOG?
For me to be a FOG and get that FOG number is about respecting the past of obviously the players, the coaching, the staff, everyone that had a part of the Queensland team. It's about understanding what they've done previous to when I sort of started my journey, getting that FOG number. And obviously when you first receive your FOG number, you're not too familiar with what it all means, but once you're in camp and you've got the players around you that have obviously played in coaching staff, you soon find out what it means to be a Queensland player. It's not just an individual thing, but it's more about the past that's been there, the players, the history, the way we hold ourselves as Queenslanders, and you soon come familiar with that and understand what it is to just pull on that jersey. It's not about the 80 minutes of performance on the field. It's definitely more about the state and doing the right thing in the community as well.
You mentioned the word journey. Everyone has a different journey. Yours started in New South Wales, moved to Queensland at the age of 3, and Bribie Island, a young kid playing footy, is 11 years of age, which is a little bit late nowadays, or for kids to start playing. When did it all start for you as a young bloke on Bribie Island? Did you ever think you would play representative football?
Oh no, not at all. By the way, Maxwell used to be in Queensland when they changed the borders back some time. But yeah, I played soccer for 5 years and then moved over to rugby league purely because my mates were playing at the time. As we do, we follow our friends and want to be our friends and have fun, and that's what it's all about. And that's the way I played my career, is about enjoying it. But never in my wildest dreams would I think, growing up playing footy at Bribie, we weren't a strong team, that's for sure. We used to cop some big losses, but I suppose that teaches a few life lessons there as well, and losing big margins and just about enjoying what you do, and making sure you enjoy what you do, you're having fun, and that makes you come back to training every week. But yeah, never representing the Sunshine Coast or Wide Bay is about as far as I got at Bribie, playing those representative games, but always disappointing when you didn't make them. Mum and Dad, I suppose Dad in himself, Mum's loves footy but doesn't really understand it, more there for the social side of it. But Dad, he played at Maxwell growing up, so he was very supportive of me. I think he always thought I had something a bit extra to give, but definitely not my time at Bribie did I think I'd move on and progress into playing first grade and representing Queensland and Australia. Just opportunity, chance come for me, and when that time came, I thought, yeah, this is my time.
When did it start getting serious for you? When did you start realising that you had some ability and that there was a chance of you making a career out of rugby league?
Probably wasn't until later for me. I was at Bribie. I left Bribie, went to Redcliffe, played there, played 16s, and then 2 or 3 years of Colts under 19, so I still wasn't at the age to play Colts, but I was up there playing centre wing position. Obviously Mum and Dad are doing the travel, didn't have my licence back then. I remember Dad gave me a bit of a rocket one day and said, mate, well, you're wasting our time coming to watch you train and you're dishing up that garbage out on the field. I still remember that, and obviously the good feedback, the honest feedback's always good from your parents, so that sort of gave me a bit of a shock to the system. And you don't want to let your parents down. They work all week and take you around to footy games and do all those extra things on the weekend. So I went from there, and then I went back to Bribie for a year, again purely just to play with my mates back at Bribie. So I played under 19s and A grade that year. So playing 2 games a weekend, again, going out, enjoying time off the field, drinking too many beers and having fun. And then the under 20s the following year, 2008, the under 20s kicked off. So obviously every NRL club have an under 20s team, and then my coach at Redcliffe invited me to come back and play at West Panthers, play Colts there. Under 20s, play under 20s there. So I went back, and then that's when I first started playing back row as well. Moved into the forwards in 2008 and playing some decent footy there in a new position. And halfway through that year, Anthony Griffin, he was the coach of the 20s at the Broncos at the time. I went and started doing some one-off training sessions a week with the Broncos teams. Eventually got my time to represent the Broncos in under 20s. I played, I'm going to say, maybe 6 games for the Broncos. Although I've been playing at Panthers most of that year as well. So by the time, the way it lined up, Panthers West got to the grand final, and I was in the Broncos team. We got to our finals campaign. So Panthers are into the GF, and in that time, again, I made a decision for myself to obviously playing Broncos and playing well and playing off the bench and doing good things there. I decided to sort of part ways with the Broncos and go back and play at West in the grand final. It was a tough phone call to not only obviously Dad, biggest supporter, my manager, the coach, Anthony Griffin. Hook didn't have too many words for me. He couldn't get his head around it, but Dad was very disappointed. I remember driving back from the Broncos training back to Bribey. I was in tears and felt like your dad means everything to you and your expectations. So I was in tears doing that. Made the decision, went back, played in the final at West. That was sort of my time that I thought it was all going well. I was getting recognised and making those rep teams. Disappointing at the time. We won the GF. The Broncos went on and played in the grand final against Canberra. So I thought I'd messed up. I messed up my opportunity to obviously go on further and represent the Broncos at a higher level. So after that, that year was all over. Thought I'd done my dash there. And then I went to North the following year. Again, I wasn't really committed to my footy at that time. In 2009 it was, the pre-season. So Kevy Carmichael was the coach, and I didn't rock up to after Chrissy to training, the pre-season. We all know what pre-seasons are like. They're pretty hard to get through, and for me, I didn't really commit myself or think that I was a chance of going further and making a career of it. So I rocked up after Kevy. He'd be calling me in the pre-season up to Christmas, and I just wouldn't pick the calls up, and not obviously doing the right thing there, but I just wasn't committed. And then I started after Chrissy at North in A grade, so I was training with the A grade boys, and then trials come around, and then I ended up playing Q Cup that year. I was playing lock and 5'8", and then out of nowhere, sort of a meeting. Ivan Hedjack had been watching the games, and then when I had a meeting with him halfway through the year, he offered me a pre-season training, training trials, or not even trial, just train with the first grade team, 2009-10 pre-season. I took that and thought that was my time to, do all the right things, rock up the training, put the weight on, put the size on, train hard, dig in. And ever since that pre-season, I didn't miss a game at the Broncos unless I was injured.
Growing up, what are your memories of Origin? When did you first become aware, and what were you like as a young bloke when Origin came around?
For me, it was growing up is obviously big, and obviously being in the footy world. Obviously at school there's always those rivalries, and you're playing at school as well, Queensland and New South Wales on the ovals. The later in life you sort of get together and go around and enjoy it at families or friends' places, having barbecues and get-togethers and sitting down there and watching the game and the build-up, obviously on Channel 9 as well, was quite big. But for me, obviously, I think coming through and watching the success and the players that they have that played before you, and you know the talent that you would see and sometimes come across away from footy, or if you see them out in public and things like that, is quite big. But my memories of Origin, always exciting, mate. Always exciting when it's around and that day, and the banter you have between your mates at school or at footy training as well. We'd always, you know, play Queensland versus New South Wales right at the end of training, and you know sometimes you think that would determine who wins the following night on a Wednesday night. So it was always special, or a special time of year, just getting together with friends and family, but also that bit of banter between your mates on the footy paddock as well.
Well, you made your debut for the Broncos in 2010, won the Dally M Rookie of the Year. You then in 2011 had a great season, but 2012 was when it really started to happen for you, wasn't it? You were in the squad for that Anzac Test in 2012, didn't play. Was that when you started thinking, you know, that you were an elite player and a chance of becoming a FOG?
Mate, yeah, well, like you said, it was sort of for me, and to get the opportunity, the chance at the Broncos, and to go play first grade. You know, Darren Lockyer was in my team when I debuted, so just doing that, having that moment and being with him, and then just being around that such, you know, players with that aura to come into that Bronx side, and then your name, obviously media, your name starts to get tossed around, and you know you start to get that bit more belief, and I just felt like I was, you know, a kid or just another normal person when you're just playing something you love, and then you're getting all these opportunities getting thrown at you. Your name's getting tossed up to play at the Bronx, and then Australia and Queensland. It's all pretty surreal, and just getting goosebumps now thinking about it. But yeah, when your name starts to get tossed around and you get selected into that Anzac squad and go away with the team and experience. Obviously, didn't get to play that time, but just to be around it and understand what it's all about, and it was pretty special. And then I suppose when you start to get closer, I start thinking about actually wanting to go play for Queensland and Australia. It does become, you know, a bit of a focus to put your best performance in. I was a bit of a player at the start of my career where I was always playing different positions, but always just a bit of a freelancer and just a bit of an instinctive player, and not thinking about too much of the outcome, you know, with offloads and things like that, or just playing off the cuff until. But as soon as your name does get tossed up, and you sort of focus a bit more on how you better yourself as a player, and limit a fair few errors in the start of my career, and just about probably missing opportunities, and you know pulling that in and understanding that, you know, sometimes it's not on, the offload's not on, the mistakes aren't on, to, you know, better yourself and give yourself a chance to represent Australia and Queensland, and you know you mature and you get better as a player and understand the game a bit more. So doing that, and then finally got the opportunity to represent Queensland.
And what was the build-up like, waiting between that Anzac Test when you're in the squad but didn't play, knowing that the Origin series is just around the corner? What was that expectation in your mind, and how nerve-wracking was it waiting to see whether you'd finally represent your state?
Yeah, it was always, again, you just, like, the media sort of, I think the bolter for the Queensland squad, and my name was getting tossed up. So you sort of, myself, you got to try and stay a bit calmer and not get too nervous, because obviously that could affect your performance or whatever you're doing. So just sort of had to sit back and understand that I am a chance, you know, of getting in the squad or getting named, whatever the case was. It's just about, you know, understanding that, but not trying to let that get to your head. You can read all the articles and the positives about yourself. You'll find positives wherever you go. It's trying to steer clear away from that and just let your footy do the talking. So that's what I try to do, just do my best every week and put a performance in. Always felt like I've always competed in my games, and obviously Queensland's about competing and hard work and not letting your teammate down beside you. So that's the way I used to play my footy, and I believe I did that for most of my career, and obviously getting the call up to come in and play for Queensland was very special. And
do you remember the call?
Yeah, I do. I was on the way to Nitro Circus with my wife at the Brisbane Entertainment Centre. So obviously pretty excited about going there, and on the way in, I was on the way in on the walk-in. So Anthony Griffin at the time gave me the call on the way in. Obviously pretty pumped already to go see Nitro Circus, and but getting that call, and I think it was maybe a Saturday or Sunday, the call was, and we're going to camp on the Monday. So very special. I don't remember much of Nitro Circus, and quickly made the calls to mum and dad as well, and that was probably sort of the better moment for me, was calling dad and letting him know that I've got the call up, because dad, big footy head, loves his footy, never missed a home game at the Broncos for me as well, so he's a part of my journey, and someone that always put the time and effort in and believed in me as a kid. So just to call him and let him know, it's quite a good feeling, that's for sure.
You walked into a side that had won 6 series in a row. Cameron Smith was captaining full-time for the first time in the year you made your debut. What was it like then walking into a side that was studded with superstars?
Yeah, I was quite nervous, very nervous to be honest. Obviously the superstars, 6 in a row, they had one at that stage. So me coming there, obviously to do a job for Queensland, and knowing what they're currently doing as a team, the way they're performing and the expectations as a Queenslander, very nervous, mate. But at the same time, it was, once I got in there and I had met a few of the boys, and obviously playing in Brisbane with some teammates, and Hodjo and Sammy and Corey Parker and Benny Hennett, and Petro was there as well. So sort of familiar with those boys, but then some of the other boys that I hadn't met before, I was very nervous. Those first few days is more about getting to know each other, and we used to have the camps, the emerging squads camps as well. So you sort of meet the coaching staff in those camps and familiarise yourself with them, which was good. But then just to meet the players, the likes of Cameron Smith, JT, Billy Slater, GI, pretty nervous. But I remember, I think it was my first camp, and we'd head down. I know we were up the coast at Coolum, up there, and just having a conversation with Cameron Smith, just about, not even about footy. Sort of sat down with him just after dinner, and a 40-minute conversation just about life and your kids, you're married, where you come from, and that sort of stuff was at that point sort of just settle you down a bit, and you sort of get that feel like they hear, they care about you. Footy's footy. We focus on that when we go out in the paddock and in the team meeting rooms. But when we're away from there, it's about connecting away from the footy field and get to know each other. So having that conversation with him was very good for myself, and to settle the nerves a bit.
First game was in Melbourne, of all places. So how different was that from, when you eventually played at Suncorp Stadium? I mean, game one, to be playing in a city like Melbourne. How nervous were you? And you had to start from the bench, of course, too. So therefore, you're sitting there watching the first 20 or so minutes. Yeah,
it was a bit different. Etihad Stadium down there, and enclosed in stadium. So again, build up. We're still in camp up in Queensland for a few days, and then almost until the weekend, and then you fly down to Melbourne. So again, the build up here was pretty good. Obviously getting to the fan days and things like that, and seeing everyone and just soaking it all in and understanding what it's about. And like I mentioned before, getting to training, and once training was on, it was very serious and focused about our footy in the team meeting rooms as well. But away from that, you're just living your everyday life, having coffees, getting to know each other, playing your golf, doing things that relax you, trying to stay, keep everything to a normal sort of routine that you would do at home anyway. So once I got down to Melbourne, again, a bit different of a build-up. Obviously rugby league's not massive down there, and playing there was still, I enjoyed it. Obviously, just getting out in the field. Did get out there into the second half, and I think I played maybe 12 minutes or 15. I don't know, couldn't even tell you. It was just more about running out there and soaking it all in, having a look around and seeing. Obviously, there was a lot of Blues fans down there in Queensland, just soaking it all in, having a look across the field to see who I'm lined up with. I was on JT's side, and you had GI, Hodjo, Petro's in there, Nate Miles, Cameron Smith, Billy Slater. So it was almost about just soaking that up. I wasn't probably really focused about my footy. Obviously, coming in the team that they were, all I had to do was make my tackles and carry the footy hard and be in the right position. So it wasn't for me overthinking my role. I had to go out there and do something special. I knew what sort of team I was in. So just get out there, do that, soak it in, come off, and how good's that? That's game one.
And where's that jersey?
It's framed up in the man cave at home. I won't call it a man cave because it gets used more by the kids and get-togethers. But yeah, it's up there with the other debut jerseys as well. So Petro presented me with my jersey down there in Melbourne, which was quite special as well. I think that was his last year of representing Queensland. So very special moment.
Memories of your first game at Suncorp Stadium for Queensland, obviously.
Yes. It was that series where we come up. We come up, and I could just obviously the family come down to Melbourne and the debut and stuff like that, but to come up to Queensland and run out in that stadium with see Maroon, run out, your families and friends are going to be there supporting you. The roar from the crowd, obviously when you run out the first time, is something special, gives you goosebumps. When you run out, it's definitely a place where you want to play footy and you want to represent Queensland. That's the place to do it, because you can't sort of describe the feeling that you do get just from the fans and the build up of the week. And we do our community visits and our regional tours to someone that's been through a bit of a hardship, and the Ks that they come to travel, not just to see myself, but like the likes of Billy Slater and JT, and just to touch them and just to be around them in the rural areas that we'd go to it's quite special. And you soon realise it's not about you as an individual, about representing Queensland, and it's about understanding that all the hardships and things that families go through, and that they live through the Queensland Maroons. If they win, they're happy. If we win, the kids go to school happy. It's just that sort of impact that you don't understand until you get involved with Maroons, and that's something that I know that gets implemented now integrated through the teams and the coaching staff, and it's definitely more about the state itself than you as an individual. And running out for the first time there, singing the national anthem. I was a player that always used to sort of rely on my emotions, that feel-good emotion before the game. Used to get the wife, or once I had kids, to send me photos of the kids getting dressed up in their Queensland or their Broncos gear or Australia gear, send them through, and I'd have a scroll through, listen to some certain songs, and I'd just get that goosebump, good feel, emotion in me before I'd run out, and I knew that, I should play well. Didn't always work out that way, but I felt good about when I was about to prepare, and as part of my preparation to get those photos through, and then go out and then run out and get that big roar, and then you line up with all your teammates arm in arm, and then I'd make sure I try and find the family and sing that national anthem. Just so again, get that feel, get that emotion. I always brought tears to my eyes seeing them there, because it's more than it's not just about me. It's about your family. You represent your family, your people as well. So just to sing that national anthem, get that feeling, and then she's on.
They say that it doesn't matter how many times people tell debutants or people who haven't played Origin how quick it is and what the game's like. No one can really encapsulate what it's like to play in an Origin match. Is that true? And if it is, How long did it take you to appreciate the step up to Origin and the different level of play?
Oh yeah, it's again you hear about it, and you don't fully understand it. I suppose for me, like obviously I played, I think it was like half and half, so off the bench, and then half my games starting. So obviously when you come off the bench and you're playing, you know you've got that short stint, and Mal and Kevin were pretty good with letting you know how many minutes or what time of the game you're going to go on, and just give me your best 15 minutes, and if you're still good, we'll keep you on. If you just give your best effort and trying to do that, then we'll take you off. We'll see you getting tired, but we'll just take you off when we think when you're fatigued. And so just knowing that, it was a bit different. You could just go out and go balls out and get everything done. All the little things sort of matter in Origin, or they do in any game, but your kick pressures, your kick chase, your inside assist, all those little things that help your teammates out are really valued within the Maroons team. So I knew if I was doing those things and just put myself in the picture and keep showing up for my teammates, that I'd be doing a good job. And then I suppose come off the bench, and then when you start in an Origin match, it's about trying to use your energy a bit better, trying to understand the way to work yourself into the game. Obviously playing edge back row, and like those things I just mentioned, your kick pressure, inside assist, your kick chase, as part of my role, was something I valued and had to do for the team, and I knew that, regardless if my ass is hanging out and I've just made 3 tackles, and my next job is to go put kick pressure on. Otherwise, if you're not going to be doing those things, you're probably more likely you won't be there and you're letting the team down. So it's always for me to focus on those things, those little 1%ers. And again, the team I had, I just Cooper Cronk and JT, and they just tell me where to go and things like that, what lines to run, and I just say yes sir. I'll get there and do that for you. But it wasn't hard for me as a back rower to have players like Cooper. Most of my career playing for Queensland was with Cooper Cronk on his side, and he's very he was always good for me in the way that he just tell me where to be and what to do and what lines to run, and we just had a little combination there that I could just easily adjust and work off Cooper, so it made my job a lot easier as well. And again, it's about moments in Origin and showing up from your teammates when your arse is hanging out. It's about just showing up and giving your best effort, and the speed of the game is just constant. In Origin, there's no time to rest unless there's point score, it's a kick for touch or a line drop out. But those little moments that you are breathing, you're down on your haunches and you're just sucking in the big ones, looking around. I used to always think that I was struggling and as a back rower and playing bigger minutes, but Cameron Smith always used to surprise me in the way he got around the paddock, obviously at hooker, and making a lot of tackles and steering the game around and having the mind he did for rugby league, and just always look over at him and he just have this fresh look on his face. I don't know how he did it, but it always, then for me it'd be like, oh, well, if he's looking all right, he's feeling all right, then I should be as well. So and I think that's just a part of his leadership and what he done. He's very calming in that side, in that aspect. So yeah, for him to be like that, just sort of, I just think to myself, I'm not doing that bad. I'll be right. I'll get on with it. But yeah, the speed of it is just constant, and ref'd a little bit different, as we know. So a lot more gets let go. Bit more free playing, free flowing play, which is good. But if you're losing, not so good.
What's your fondest Origin memory?
Oh, plenty there. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure it's the first series I played, and it was at Suncorp, the decider, and Cooper Cronk had kicked the field goal in the dying moments. So again, that was Petro's last series as well. So that definitely would be up there. being a part of that game, being my first Origin series and understanding it, and that last decider being in Queensland at Suncorp Stadium, winning it by a field goal was pretty special. Friends and family are all around, so yeah, definitely that one. Just doing the lap after as well. Again, it's just to see the support there, not just your friends and family, the hard-working Queenslanders that pay their good-earned money to come watch us and travel from interstate. That's what it's about. It's about putting those smiles on the kids' faces that come to support us and making memories for them as well. So definitely that game would be up there.
Your all-time favourite Origin player?
All time. I'm going to say Cam Smith. Obviously played with him, but just the influence, he has, and the calming influence that he has off the field and around the place was something that helped me as a player to perform well and to go out there and represent Queensland. And just the way he can read the game. He's always, as we know, he's always a couple of steps ahead, and he's always on that sort of thing. He's always a couple of steps ahead and thinking about what's going to happen, and whether it be he'd notice, say, New South Wales kick or something, and James Tedesco chases hard on the first two tackles. He's in there making tackles, and Cam's seen that. So we get to our third tackle, we've got the ball, and he puts it down long because he knows James Tedesco was, he might be gassed or he's made a few efforts. So it was time for us to turn the tide and put the pressure back on them, because he knew James was put those few efforts in. So we just little things like that he could just predict the game and be ahead of the game. And again, like I mentioned before, just his calming influence, whether it, after our team run, our final captain run, the chats he'd have to us as a group, just as the players, but not also on the field at halftime or things are going against us. He always instilled that belief that we've still got this, and it showed so many times that we're still behind and we'd come back and win it, and it's just about sticking to the process and what we're trained to do. He was always a big believer of that, and again, everyone followed in his footsteps, and it always ended up pretty well.
Why is Suncorp Stadium the best ground in the world?
The people, mate, the people. Again, it is about the people, and the families that support us as Queenslanders, the ones that have been through the hardship, and I know, no doubt we've all been through some hardship, whether it's our town, our personal lives, and the impact that we have as players is very fortunate to give back to those people, the kids, the families. So it's definitely about the people that we play the game for. You understand that. It's great to represent Queensland and get your FOG number, but that's an individual accolade, but you soon get educated and understand what it really, truly means to represent Queensland, going out to the regional towns and doing our fan days and just seeing thousands and thousands of people come and line up the streets just to get their signature and your autograph and and your photos, and just to meet you. They travel a long way. It's just kids from the age of 2, just sitting there yelling out names, just to touch it, get a signature, whatever the case is. It's all about the people.
You mentioned some of the greats in the game that you played with at Origin level, but tell me someone that didn't get the recognition, someone that you just loved having beside you in a game that is your, I suppose, favourite FOG that doesn't get the recognition they deserve.
It's a hard one to answer, I think, but obviously when you do represent Queensland, what matters, and obviously a personal accolade to get there, but then there's reasons you are picked to play for Queensland, because you know what you're going to dish up, that you're going to be there when times are tough. And for me, thinking now, I would say I'll go with Nate Miles. Obviously, a statesman there for us as FOGS, a leader of the pack, a front rower, always putting his head in where none of us really wanted to put our heads and do all that tough work. Nate was always there. He's always, through my time, when I come into the team, he's always, up there with our players play every week, just for the things he would do, that inside pressure, those tough carries. He'd come out of our own end, even though he might have made 3 tackles that set, he'd always, try his best to get back and take one of those tough carries, even though he's going to get bashed. But it's just part of his role, and just all those little extra things that he'd do, and he'd do for the team. Obviously not a big frame as well in the Origin arena, but he definitely played above his weight, and someone that you knew that was beside you that he's not going to let you down. Nate was definitely one of those blokes, and also a great teammate off the field as well. Always checking in on you and making sure you're all right, and seeing if there's any way he could help you on off the field as well. So definitely Nate Miles.
And to finish, what advice would you give an 11-year-old kid, whether they be on Bribie Island or up on Thursday Island or whatever it may be, that has dreams, hopes and aspirations of becoming a FOG, or even just having a rugby league career?
I just work hard. We hear that a lot, but just working hard and always putting your best effort in, and no matter what you do, whether it's at the training paddock or in games, and working hard and always competing. I mentioned earlier in this podcast, our team at Bribie wasn't always, we always used to get touch-ups and get towed up, but it was always, chasing down that player for his long-range try, just to make the conversion a bit more difficult, to chase him out, or if you're not going to get there, just putting pressure on, always showing up, put yourself in the picture. So definitely just working hard on what you want to do, because every kid out there is working hard, or they're doing something to improve themselves all the time, and just competing in whatever you do. If you can work hard and compete, you're going to give yourself a good chance of doing something one day, and you don't know when that opportunity is going to come. So if you're looking after those 2 things and someone gives you opportunity, they already know you're going to work hard and you're going to compete, so they can sort of juggle with everything else, and skill-wise they can update you and help you out and that sort of things. But working hard, it's got to sort of come from within.
FOG number 173, Matt Gillett, thank you.
No worries, thank you.